Hello and welcome to Froggity Frog Crochet and the stitch guide on how to crochet the loop stitch. So this is a crazy looking crochet stitch that it kind of looks like a shag carpet, but it's brilliant if you want to create fur or a very tactile surface for your crochet. So to start this stitch, you're going to need a foundation chain in any multiple of stitches that you wish, +2, +1 for your turning chain. Okay, so for the loop stitch, I want my turning chain to count as the first stitch of my hook. So I'm going to pop a stitch marker into the first chain. Then in the third chain from my hook, I'm going to make a single crochet. And then row 1 is just single crochet in every chain. So this is going to set us up to make the loop stitch easier to make. So your loops are all going to be on one side. So we're only going to make loops every other row to make sure that happens. Okay, so row 1, single crochet in every stitch across. Now we turn, chain 1, make a single crochet in the first stitch of the row. Just mark that with a stitch marker, and that's just so we've got a flat edge on each side so that we can work a border in and whatever, but it just gives it a nice edge. And then we start to make our loop stitches. So to make a loop, we're going to be using the thread on the other side of our fingers. So if you don't hold your yarn like I do, you can wrap yarn around a pencil, whatever, but you just need to get some height for how big you want those loops to be. So insert your hook into the next stitch. I'm going to put my hook around the yarn, the working thread here, so it's over the top. I'm going to go and hook through this loop here. So the yarn that's going around my finger, this is going to be the size of the loop. So if you want small loops, you either have to bring your yarn closer or wrap your yarn around something else. Okay, so you got these two strands of yarn on your hook, and you're going to pull both of them through your stitch. So we've got 2 loops there and your original loop on your hook here. Let go of the loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that secures that loop. So if I turn around, there's my loop of yarn. Okay, so that's going to be on the back, and that's the size of it. So you can make these loops are as big and as small as you like. It just depends on how much yarn is over here. So next stitch, the loop. So insert your hook, yarn round of that strand of yarn there, and then I'm going to go catch the other strand that's around my finger, pull both strands through, drop the loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So how would you make your loop smaller? Okay, so insert your hook, and we wrap around there, like this working strand here as before, then grab the next one and pull through. So you still got 2 loops on your hook, but we haven't finished the stitch yet. But now I can pull this working yarn here. It pulls the loop smaller, then yarn over and secure the loop by pulling through all 3 loops. And now I've got a smaller loop. Okay, so until you secure your loop with that last pull through for both loops, you can play around with how big and small your loops are going to be. Okay, so if you need your loops at a consistent size, that's how you do it. So pull those through, and now I can make this loop bigger by pulling that loop to make it longer, or by pulling the working yarn, I can make that loop smaller. When you've got the size that you're happy with, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. That is now secured. And that is a nice tight loop. So again, hook into the next stitch, bring that working strand of yarn so that it's over the top of your hook, grab the next yarn. I've got this over my finger, so this is how I would normally hold my yarn anyway, but if you don't hold your yarn this way, it can be it's a great way to control your tension, and it's a great way to control this yarn for this stitch. Drop the loop, play around with it so it's as big or as small as you choose. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops to secure that loop, and now that's not going anywhere. And you do that all the way across to the end of your row. So you can have control of how big and small those loops are. The technique can get a bit of getting used to, but a great way to have some loops on the back. So it's a great way to make a shag pile rug that you would have in your bathroom, kind of the 1960s style. Okay, and when you get to the end of the row, your last stitch is going to be a single crochet. So that's going to be in that turning chain from the row below. I'll just get that stitch marker out to get my loop. Let's move backwards. I think you just love it when stitches cooperate. Yeah, then. Single crochet. And turn. Okay, so we've got all the loops here. All different sizes from all that pulling. So you can make them all the same size. You just got to mess around with that first loop. So turn, chain 1, make a single crochet in the first stitch of the row. Put my stitch marker back in there. So we want all our loops on one side. So between every row of loops, you're going to make a row of single crochet. So row 3, we single crochet in every stitch across. And single crochet in the last stitch of the row, then turn, chain 1, make a single crochet in the first stitch of the row, put the stitch marker in, and then we start our loops again. So just show the technique a couple more times. Insert your hook into the stitch, yarn around that working loop, hook around the loop around your finger, pull through. This is the point where you can play with the sizing of your yarn, make it bigger, make it smaller. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So that loop is now secured, and that's the size it will stay. Hook into the next stitch, yarn around that working yarn, hook the yarn that's wrapped around your finger, pull through, make that loop as big or as small as you wish, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So until you yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, that loop is not secure. Only when you do that last pull through is that loop going to stay put. Okay. So yarn around the back, got the yarn wrapped around your finger, Okay, so go under and over like that. Yarn over. Okay, so to show you how I do my yarn, I got yarn up my little finger. That's just going to keep it anchored. Yarn around my index finger. And it's this loop that's going to determine how big the hook size is. So hook, wrap it around that first loop, grab the loop that's wrapped around my finger, pull through. At this point I can play with the sizing, make it longer or shorter depending on which yarn I pull. Once you're happy with the size, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and that is the loop secured. So all the loops are going to be on the back side. So to continue with the loop stitch, you're going to repeat rows 2 and 3. So every even numbered row is going to be a loop row. Every odd numbered row is going to be that row single crochet, which means that there's always loops on one side only. And there you have your stitch guide on how to crochet the loop stitch. So I would love to see what you make with this really fun stitch. Please do come and show us over in our Facebook group, Froggity Frog Stitch and Stitch. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well for more crochet stitches, free crochet patterns and hints and tips. And if there's any stitch or technique that you would like to see a guide on, please do let me know and your video could be made next. So thank you for watching and I shall see you next time for the next video. Bye for now.